Hey guys, AC Trader. Today we're looking at our charts and continuation scanners to see if we can find any stock setups for the week. This week might be a little crazy. This week we have the tariff news. The tariffs hitting on April 2nd. So that could have an overwhelming impact on the market. We kind of already are seeing it with the S&P 500. If you look at it right now, we actually are below the 200 EMA. So that being said, this week might be a little bit slower of a week. Are we going to have all these companies releasing headlines? They may be holding them back because of the tariff news. They don't want to release it on a downward trend market because it might not be conducive to their business. So these are the things we got to be thinking about when we're looking at the market and looking at these setups and continuations for the week. Right now, I'm actually not seeing too much from last week. We had a couple stocks pop and drop. We did have a couple big moves last week, up 500%, 300%. Great, wonderful moves. However, right now, I don't see too many setups that I'm liking. One stock in particular we had was PRTG. PRTG did pop up Friday, and did go all the way up to 1350 and did hit that double top and came back down all the way to 970. We do have a couple other key points of resistance, and right here at the 1050 mark and again at the 11 mark. And then we also did close the day with a red candle. So it's going to be tough to say what PRTG is going to be doing unless we, get some volume and start getting it to move. Could move, yes, but right now I'm not too sure. We might be on the backside. We might get a little bit of a reversal here. Next stock we had up was LXRX on the top gapper scanner. However, we've been following this. We've been following this trend line. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4 points of resistance. Now we're in this little consolidation period with no headlines. It's going to be kind of tough to, see if this is going to get a nice move upwards. We may, but we're once again going to need some breaking news. One that we could be looking at is MLGO. However, we did also break this ascending support line. This ascending support line broken, and the history of MLGO of popping and dropping, I'm not too confident that we'll be getting too many more moves. And on top of that, I'm just wondering to myself, how much more can this move? I know we have seen stocks continue to go up over 900%. Absolutely, it does happen. However, this is something I'm approaching with caution. I don't want to just say, oh, this one's going to be moving because of all of last week. Sure, it could, but until we start seeing it break some of these key points of resistance, more volume, because we are on a decreasing volume here as it's going throughout the week, more it looks like. So it's just something that we got to be careful of. I don't want to get caught in a trap and, go to get a complete reversal. So MLGO is on the side chart, not something I'm, overly excited trading, but it may get some moves. Some moves that we did have late on Friday was MYSZ. MYSZ did pop up. However, we didn't really have anything crazy breaking news. Size reports. So it just was some results. We hit all the way up to that 213 mark, which we do have some resistance at already, and then drop down. And we still are below the 200 EMA. So MYSZ, until we get over the 200 EMA, we don't really have that much room to run without hitting some key resistance points. So MYSZ, I'm not looking at until we get a little higher and we can get some movement out of it. BLUE, however, we might get some news on with AI. We did have a nice move late on Friday. We do have a bunch of room up to the 200 EMA. We do have this gap here that could be filled, and we're at 445 right now. So let's see. So if we get up over that 493 mark, we might have room to run all the way up to about 570, and then from 570 we might be able to get up to 7 here. So BLUE is definitely going to be on this side chart, looking and waiting in particular for breaking news to happen. And if that breaking news happens, now we'll have our key resistance pointed out, which again was the 560 mark, 490 mark, and that 7 mark. So we might even get. That being said, we'll have all these marked out. That way, once we start breaking this 490 mark again, pushing up over 5, and see if we can hold that over 5, we might have a good trade to the upside here. So BLUE is definitely going to be on the side chart, waiting for news to hit. Besides that, I'm not really seeing anything that I'm overly interested in. I don't think we'll be getting too many moves out of everything else. However, one thing I do want to share and look at here is VVPR. VVPR did have some news last week that they wanted to do an all-cash takeover. Oh, I'm sorry, they had an all-cash takeover offer for an evaluation of the company that is much higher than it's worth. So if this offer actually goes through, we may be getting a nice move to the upside here. So this is a stock that I'll be keeping on the side chart 110%. But once again, it's going to be the theme of today's episode is patience. Everything is going to be revolve around patience, especially with, I think how the market's feeling right now. We, like I said, it on, Wednesday and Tuesday, we did have some really big movers with a lot of volume, but Thursday and Friday hit, the volume almost disappeared. We didn't have those lot of volume movers. So we'll have to see what the market gives us, especially with this tariff news. I think it's going to be a slower week. I don't think we're going to have these big monstrous moves. I think companies are going to hold back a lot of news until the tariff news settles. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, and we'll see where we can capitalize. We'll have to be quick, but we'll have to be smart, and we'll have to be, quick and patient. Don't really make sense together. However, it does. We got to make sure we're not getting ourselves into situations that we don't need to be in, and we're only taking the setups that are going to allow us the most chance of success. So once again, guys, I think this week may be a little slower. I don't see too many setups that I'm super thrilled about. I think this week is going to be a breaking news week. And what I mean by that is we have to wait for the breaking news in order to get some good, clean trades. I think that's what it's going to be about. And then even on those breaking news headlines, we're going to have to do our due diligence and make sure we're not getting caught in these pops and drops. And, I think that's going to be our plan of the week. I think that's going to be our attack. I think it's smart. I think approaching with caution is the best route right now. And, I think we're going to have a good week, guys. Well, that's going to be it for today. You guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks, guys. Please like and subscribe.